The green book you see at the beginning is called The World Unknown, which, of course, I decided to maybe make it come back. All tribe logos have been changed, and when Frozenhood is explaining, yeah, a lot of these actually have changed. This was made before mystical was a thing, which the star is a mystical element. So yeah, that's why it explains it's a leader of the Rainbow World. But there is another leader. The Unikitty stuff might actually change in future releases, and I am thinking about doing that too. So some people actually told me to not do this, but the reason why I decided to do this was because I wanted to show things will happen in the story, and these are just a few things that will happen in the story later on. This scene was the first scene that got animated for the movie. It's the reason why there's something that says "By Captain Unikitty," and there's a lot of things that are kind of taken out of the story in this scene too. There's some really bad cutting here for some reason when Pinky Freak is talking, but yeah. Some people say Pinky Freak is kind of hard to understand, which I get that. I was really young when I made this movie, so yeah, I understand why it's hard to sometimes listen to her. The star randomly appears, where actually there was supposed to be a scene that was going to be added, but I guess I just didn't add it. This scene was actually added. Originally, Frozenheart was going to be introduced. The thing is, I just ended up cutting it. Noah the Cat was based on two friends, actually. Two really good friends. Unfortunately, this is the only movie that will feature Fred. In the background, it shows some art that's actually by... one of them is by a friend, but later releases, it'll change. Just like Fred, some of these characters don't come back in future. Maybe they'll just be side characters in the background. Later releases, it'll change the name of the character of the little sister, because, well, I don't want to... I guess they're kind of similar to, this other character it was based off on. They share the name. The reason why it zoomed in so much is because there was another character that was added, but unfortunately it was replaced by another character named Victoria, and yeah, the rest is history. Pinky Freak is actually younger than Captain Unikitty, because Pinky Freak actually remembers being born, and remembers some other things, like you see here, but only she keeps everything a secret because she doesn't want to disappoint Captain. Of course, way later in the It's Captain Unikitty series, she eventually finds out. This scene was also added. Originally, it was actually supposed to be a rainbow butterfly unicorn kitty, but then it was changed to a fairy. But then later on, I was thinking, oh, it should have been Buggy, actually. The reason why Captain meets a ghost, the Master, well, there's also another thing about another character named Ghost. And I'll just leave it to you guys. Master Haunt just cuts the story, because the thing is, there was supposed to be some comic in this movie, but it just doesn't make any sense. No sense. This scene was also added, so it could show where everybody's going and what Mystic is like. Well, it kind of shows you what Mystic is like. And this is all before, I guess, the name of the world even got its name. It was just some random world, I guess. I didn't call it Mystic until, later. Originally, it was actually supposed to, like, show the characters looking at the beach, Pinky, like, making sandcastles and stuff. Then Captain goes and swims in the ocean to test out what the star can do. The movie just stops to explain what a willow is, even though there's like some things about this dragon species that's a little bit confusing. But yeah, in It's Captain Unikitty, it'll explain more. Big Giraffe is actually based on some, I guess, little giraffe I have, but for some reason I did not like her voice in this movie. She just sounds really close to me. And yeah, that's kind of just a problem with what I was using at the time. She also just mentions tribes, like, briefly, but it doesn't really say what tribe she's actually mentioning, so I'll just tell you right here. She was mentioning the Neon Trap tribe. And a sneak peek of what's about to happen. Even if it was the real star, they just didn't believe it was real because they haven't actually seen it themselves for like many, many generations. And these two masters are newer masters, so that's why they didn't believe it was the real golden star. And he lacks talking, too, because he's still in this weird phase of not talking. And this was another added scene. When they see the Unikitties, there is some errors in this, but yeah, there's it just shows how Unikitties on Mystic are just kind of mean to each other. Some of them are, but these aren't actually Mystic Unikitties. There's 2 species of Unikitties, and there's like a lot more to the Unikitties, but yeah. These aren't Mystic Unikitties, including Captain. The reason why I zoomed in was because I just felt like the stuff wasn't necessary. This dream sequence actually just replies on like how she got put in position where she doesn't really feel like she fits in with the tribes. The music, I don't know, it's kind of just like random, but yeah, it does show like stuff that's will happen in the future. There's some papers that were on the floor, and originally they had people, but unfortunately I decided to take them out since this is a movie that doesn't feature fans. Also, the reason why the 9th tribe, Shimmer and Shine, don't appear in this movie is because Master Sparkle, the unicorn, mentions that they're somewhere else. And it's kind of just weird because this is the Legends of 9 Tribes, not 8 or 7 of them, and only a few appear. This scene was actually added, and it was supposed to just fix the symbol of a Star of Harmony. But yeah, it's kind of just weird. I just added it just for that. This scene in later releases might actually be gone, because it features a character named Captain Violet, who actually isn't the captain, and I don't know, it's a long story. I feel like I should keep it to myself, but yeah, Captain Violet is a character I made for someone else. But what do you guys think? Should she stay in the series, or should she be taken out? It's a long story. I'm still trying to think of it, but maybe she'll stay. As we see some of the family, yeah, we see Tom, and of course Tom will come back, but yeah, there's more. In this movie, there's this, I don't know, like 2 types of tears. This one was the first one, and I guess they just change randomly later on. There was actually supposed to be a scene where Skull King actually finds out Captain is a mystical, well, that's what I'm saying, and also capturing Pinky and Shine Dust. Even I'm forgetting her name, she's just forgettable. And Shine Dust randomly gets out without Pinky. There's a reason why Master Sparkle isn't doing anything. She can't. She doesn't want to attack Skull King on her own. When Pinky Fig turned to stone, well, it was really quick, because there was actually a whole scene that I did. Unfortunately, it's lost, because it got messed up. The dialogue, it kind of got, I don't know, a little bit confusing. It's just random dialogue. The whip flip the whip flips here, sorry. So since they're actually going to the north, these whip flips wouldn't actually really survive because there's actually another form of whip flip that's more hairy and stuff. Also, this scene might change too. In, I guess, future movies, the neon traps kind of look, mean, scary, and stuff. Look like the villains, but, in its Captain Unikitty, they're not the villains, and of course they're not the villains. They're just very mean. Here, it only briefly shows what happened, but thing is, this scene changes. The heart-shaped box is something that's in the rainbow world, but there's actually one that actually has magical powers. This one actually comes back, but yeah, it doesn't really come back for long. This is the only scene where Buggy is in the movie. This stone is called a spirit stone, and it does come back in later stories, but yeah, it doesn't really get used. This scene, it just has a little bit of history of being taken too. I think it was taken before the movie even came out, but yeah, someone, I guess, dubbed over it, but the dub was kind of really weird. These creatures were actually protecting their young, but yeah, it doesn't really show their young either. They're just these snow monsters. I'm still thinking of a name for them, but yeah, they're just these creatures that live in the frosty region who don't really like pink. This full scene would have actually have not had Candy Storm in this way. It was actually supposed to be a song, but I decided to cut it, and now Candy Storm is a character. But yeah, there's more to Candy Storm, and that's why this scene is long. Candy Storm starts mentioning, all the stuff, but she actually has never seen the captain before, so yeah, it's kind of just weird because she's never seen the captain, but she has seen some other creatures, and she has seen Frozenheart too, because the masters all met each other. But yeah. In this scene, Captain just gets really angry because she's kind of just tired of just being told she's a captain, she's this great thing. And yeah, it's kind of like those lie reveal things, but it's not really a lie reveal because, I don't know, it's kind of just random. The thing she turns red, it actually does come back, but it's not anger. Her red form is actually more of a happiness thing, but the thing is, in this movie, it's old, so it was way before her red form was actually happiness. This scene was also cut because in the extended, originally there was supposed to be an avalanche, but yeah, I guess I decided not to do it. This is the scene that I guess has Master Sparks, but yeah, he doesn't really appear in the movie, so this is not really Legends of Nine Tribes, it's more of 7 or 8 of them. Captain explains that she wants to help, but he doesn't listen. He just thinks she's just another Unikitty. She actually speaks to her shadow, but this shadow actually becomes bigger during the series and into Enchanted Unicorn. The dialogue does change in future releases because, I don't know, Chosen One is just way too used in media, so it's not really Chosen One. And she's not even the Chosen One either. She's just the Captain Mystical, that's it. This is the scene where Coco Fest appears, and this is when Frozenheart shows up. Frozenheart briefly mentions Captain's parents, but she doesn't want to tell anyone about it. This scene was added, and the thing with Skull King, yeah, it was actually lost audio, because the original, it was much different, but sadly that's the only audio of the original audio I had for Skull King. In this scene, yeah, it's shows a lot of stuff about how the tribes got taken away and got used, and all this other stuff. It doesn't really show the rest of the mysticals because this is, the Captain movie. But yeah, it's a lot. It doesn't really say. It does come back up again. And all this, like the colored stuff, it was kind of just random. I just had to do this random thing. But yeah, it does say a lot about our own world, too. Noah the cat, her audio is here, and it does have meaning, actually, too, later on, in It's Captain Unikitty. Now the Golden Star randomly talks. Wow. What they give her here is actually tree sap. And this tree sap is actually in Phoebus, the giraffe creature, too. I don't know what face she made, actually. I have no idea why. Frozenheart is the mean one. She's just doesn't see Captain as a captain and says that she's not... Well, I mean, it doesn't really say she's not Mystic Unikitty, but yeah. Just, all that stuff. Captain mentions her father, and she wants to see him before she, I guess, redoes all the training. But unfortunately, Frozenheart will have to tell the truth. The scene actually cuts, because originally it was supposed to be extended, but yeah, it just cuts. I guess the real reason is that's because I'm kind of terrible at fake crying. And yeah, this is when the tears change, for some reason. But yeah, it briefly tells you about Lolastar, which is Captain's mother, and yeah, stuff about Captain Tony. The movie kind of stops making sense here. I don't know. I guess she's not the only one who's sad. Then Frozenheart reunites all the tribes. This scene gets cut. I don't know why I cut it, but it's kind of just cut. So all these characters are actually other characters who are in the tribes. And yeah, these characters do eventually come back and say stuff about Captain. Captain just explains how her family's gone. And then does, the let's do this and stuff. This fight scene is kind of just really random. I tried. But yeah, it's a lot of moving around. Oh yeah, then Candy Storm is kind of weak. Captain ends up using her claw, and this actually does come back. This scene is also common in animated movies, where they think the character's dead. But the thing is, I'm deciding to actually make it into something that will actually have an effect on Captain. Yeah. And the Masters know something deep. This form is Captain when she basically kind of just reunites the magic of Mystic. But yeah, sadly, it doesn't come back that much, but it will come back eventually, another day. Captain is just worried, but yeah, it implies that she's still forgetting stuff, but she eventually gets her memories back. Since the movie was made near Thanksgiving, yeah, it has this. But the scene might change in future releases. In this scene, Frozenheart accepts that Captain is the captain, and now they're going to be training her under their rules and stuff. Even though Shine Dust didn't really do much in the movie, they still offer her some shoes, because actually she wasn't wearing any shoes. There's something where she actually lost them due to mud. This is actually one of the few times Frozenheart actually smiles, but it doesn't really make sense here, because Frozenheart still has this weird anger and stuff to Captain, and yeah, it will probably make sense later on in It's Captain Unikitty. Happy Valley City represents, modern day, and Captain decides to stay with Pinky Freak and the tribes. It does eventually come back, but yeah, there's a lot more to Happy Valley City.